Welcome back to another episode of Life After Corporate, my friends. And if you're new to our show, welcome home. This is where new entrepreneurs get the best advice on how to build a sustainable business in the services sector. So whether you're a coach, a consultant, an agency owner, this is your place to be for learning how to start, grow, and scale your business successfully. And today we're talking about scaling because scaling doesn't come magically at some point in your growth journey. Scaling is an intention that you build into your business model, that you build into your systems and processes right from the start. And today we're joined by Meryl Simmons. Welcome to Life After Corporate, Meryl Simmons.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here, Debra.
So EOS, tell us a little bit more about EOS for those that are not familiar.
Yeah, so EOS is a business operating system. And it's not a digital operating system. So it's not a platform online, but it is a system, a proven system of simple tools and frameworks for you to be able to operate your business so that you can have clarity on where you're going. So that vision piece, which, sometimes can be really murky or in our heads. Or maybe we just haven't communicated it with everyone and we're scared, right, to kind of go there. So clarity on the vision. It also helps us and teams, business owners and business teams to be able to gain traction and start to execute on that vision through simple tools, frameworks, and discipline every day so that you're actually day to day executing that vision day in and day out. And then the third piece is to have a healthy team, have fun, do what you love, right? Work in that space when you have the right people in the right structure of your company, right people, right seats, when you know where you're going to get or how you're going to get there. That's when the magic happens, right? And it just starts to be fun. And another analogy I like to use to describe EOS, and sometimes I show it in a visual, is that, or when companies start to really need EOS, is if you can envision, a big circle, and in that circle, you have a bunch of different arrows, and those arrows are all pointing in slightly different directions. And you can envision those arrows as either your people, if you have, a small team, they could be individual people, or if your company is big enough, you can also envision those arrows as different departments. And so they're all going in these slightly different directions. And that sphere or that circle that they're enclosed in is kind of just vibrating, right? Like it's not actually moving. And people are working hard, like you're spinning your wheels, people are burnt out, all the things that are happening. And they're just not moving in the same direction. And when you use an operating system, and every business needs an operating system, whether it be EOS or another operating system, every business needs an operating system to run effectively and efficiently and really operate and build a better business. So, but one of the things that EOS is so brilliant at is people, like moving human energy in that same direction because of using tools to clarify the vision, because of using tools to help us with disciplines and execute with accountability, because of simple tools that help us to have a better, healthy culture that we can thrive in and have a better life. So in a nutshell, EOS is an operating system. It helps us speak the same language. It's designed for companies that have 20 people to about 300 people in size for employees. Growth minded. And, it's like you're more happy being uncomfortable. I love what you said earlier, Debra. It's like scaling doesn't happen without being intentional. So it's, you're more uncomfortable with the status quo than you are with getting uncomfortable to do something different and really take off with your business. So that's EOS.
And I know we have listeners here who aren't at 20 employees, right? Yeah. So they're much smaller and they're feeling the pinch, right? They're feeling the pinch of growth, of, maybe they started with a vision and they had something that was working a year ago or 2 years ago, a system of sales, a system of marketing, a system of client delivery. And we all know that a lot shifted in the last year. And this year is set to be a little bit chaotic too, with lots of changes going on. So how can less mature entrepreneurs take advantage of the EOS method and apply it to their business so that they are better positioned to scale effectively moving forward?
Love that question. Thank you for asking it. So absolutely. The thing that I really discovered as well as I got deeper into being, the expert deliverer of how to implement ELS is that these are simple tools and frameworks that are available. Actually, they are available on EOS worldwide. So you can download them. You can read a book like Traction. You can read a book like Get a Grip on Your Business. I also host a lot of webinars each month explaining about the operating system. So I'd love for you to join me in one of those as an opportunity to learn more. But in addition to that is, working with a coach really does shift how you adopt and start to implement these tools into your business. And I was meeting a lot of business owners like you described. They were smaller than that target market for ELS, but they were still having challenges, especially around like delegating, right? Like when you're a solopreneur, if you're earlier on in your business, maybe you have a handful of contractors in your business and you're sort of wearing all the hats and spinning all the plates, so to speak. And so I was meeting business owners like that, like myself. And I thought to myself, well, EOS, the foundational tools of EOS still work for those business owners. Some of their challenges are a little bit different. They don't have as many people problems maybe as those bigger organizations, but you still have issues being able to prioritize what are the most important things to focus on your business. If anything, that's the hardest thing to do as a solopreneur, a small business owner. It's like, what's the most important thing? I don't know. How do I stay focused? And then doing it with accountability, right? Or being able to solve issues that pop up in your business and have a space and a forum to do that on a regular basis, get some feedback, get some coaching. And so I founded a coaching program and it's called Get Focused. And it's a cohort style focused. We launched in July of 2024. 2024, yes. And so we're at our third cohort at this moment. So our Q1 cohort for 2025, it's a 6-month fully virtual program, and it's for business owners with less than 10 people, or they don't have established teams at this moment, where I teach you and educate you on some of the foundations of EOS that are proven, simple tools and frameworks, but really more importantly, where this program thrives. So you're starting to implement structure, but what it's really focused on is that accountability coaching. And so we have bi-monthly accountability coaching where you have to show your progress. I help you to facilitate you into really identifying and getting clear of what are those most important things. How can you start to make some decisions that are going to help you move the needle in your business and really get clear on those things, track what's working and what's not with a weekly scorecard or a dashboard, and have a space to be able to solve issues with like-minded entrepreneurs. So that's the Get Focused program. And it's a really nice light version for those business owners that aren't quite yet ready yet for EOS.
Yeah. So what are some of the places where people can tell they're ready? Like, what are some of the stuck points? And you mentioned the ceiling earlier. What do you mean by hitting the ceiling?
Yeah. So if we're thinking about this smaller business owner, right, that kind of under 10 people, but even beyond that, but let's start with the smaller business owner, the solopreneur, or the less than 10 people profile. One of it is, like you mentioned earlier, it's like maybe you have a starting point in where you think you're going, but it kind of changes and evolves. And you sort of find yourself a little bit lost and maybe unclear on where you're going. So number one is helping you to really get clear on the vision. And that is hard work. I actually spent all of last week doing my VTO, which is a tool we use in EOS. It's the Vision Traction Organizer, a 2-page document, not a 40-page business plan, but a 2-page document to really help you get clear. What does it look like 5-10 years from now? What is your business really focusing on? What is your 3-year plan? Those are things that should be revisited. I revisit that with my clients every year, every quarter. We revisit our annual plan. Like, is this still the right plan? Are we still clear? Are we still going in the right direction? So number one, if you're just feeling a lack of clarity on really where you're going with your business. So that's an example of kind of hitting the ceiling. Number two is, the things that used to work in the past are no longer working. So what worked in the past, not longer working. So part of that is getting clear on the vision. But the other structural thing to be able to focus on there is helping you to prioritize. Like when we're trying all the different things, it's really hard to focus on one thing. And if we don't actually execute because we're not disciplined enough or we're not consistent enough, it's really hard to make decisions, database decisions, intentions around what's really going to move the needle in our business. So if you're stuck in what to prioritize, how to get better at prioritizing things that move the needle, this system and this type of coaching program is effective and will give you results in getting clear and getting focused on that. I can give you a great example. Even it's just like getting clarity on making decisions. One of our cohort participants was, she was finding herself really stuck in one of the processes in onboarding new customers. And it was all because she needed to make a decision on outsourcing something in her business that she was just neglecting or just, not paying attention to, trying to do it on our own. And, we came up with a priority through facilitating these sessions. One of the priorities were to, start to seek and outsource or audit, outsource and make decisions on hiring this resource. And it was a game changer. And just making a decision, right, of what's holding us back was something that really gave that individual results. I could tell other stories and whatnot around even delegating too. That's a great example of hitting the ceiling. If you find yourself sort of just like you're trying to do all the things, and as a result, you're not really moving the needle because you're doing all the things at, a limited level or with limited expertise, or maybe it's not even something that you love to do and you're doing it anyway. Why are you doing it? Stop.
Wow.
How do you delegate better? How do you look at structure in your business so that the people that are working with you, your precious resources that you are outsourcing, they're accountable and they know what they're accountable for. Oftentimes I see small teams and they're like, all hands on deck. We're all here to do it. And it's like, there's not real clarity in what their role and function is. So you've got to stop and look at your business and start to run and operate it like a business. That's another example of kind of hitting the ceiling where you're not really running and operating your business as much like a business as you could or need to be in order to really accelerate that growth or have sustainable growth and scale.
What are some of the systems that you think early stage entrepreneurs need to have in place in order to be able to enjoy the fruits of scaling later on?
Yeah.
I think, systems aren't sexy. Many people don't think of them, they don't think like, oh my God, the first thing I want to do is create the systems for my business. Like the first thing they want to do is like craft their offers and price their services. And,
those
you
are
don't have a
tactical
business.
things.
Yeah, the
Right.
tactical things,
Yeah.
you don't have a business until you have a client. So do you have a sales system? Do you have a system in place to acquire new clients? I mean,
That's
that
right.
is basic. So what are some of the early systems people need to have in place?
Yeah, it's building a foundation, right? It's building a
Right.
strong foundation so that you can keep growing. And the strong foundation, I think, is important to add that every time you do hit a ceiling again, because it is inevitable, we kind of go through phases of evolution and revolution in our business. So you're always going to hit a ceiling at some point. But when you have a strong foundation and you have these simple tools and frameworks that EOS provides for us that I help you to implement, you can always go back to the tool. I always share with my clients, go back to the tool. It's in the tool. Revisit the tool. It shouldn't be static. It should be something that you're constantly dynamic going back and using. So one of them is, I mentioned earlier, getting clear on your vision. And so that is a tool to be able to use. We call it the VTO or your vision roadmap to do that. Another one is how do you look at the structure of your business? So what I mean by that is that do you have the right structure for your business tomorrow? Not how you've been doing it, but for to get you to your growth that you want. And what is that growth that you want? You have to put a number there. You have to put a date there. You have to put priorities 3 to 7. So even if we just take a year, a small, like 1 year, 3 to 7, what's the date? What's the revenue number? What's 1 or 2 measurables that you want to see at the end of the year that would make this a positive year moving forward? And then 3 to 7 top priorities, no more. We always try to do too many things. We don't get clear on what done actually looks like. We have to look at things from a milestone perspective and then being able to kind of chip away at the big picture. But structure helps us to actually also do that, is what I started to share. And I did this exercise yesterday with my second cohort group, and we talked about delegating. But before you can delegate, you have to look at, do you have the right structure for your business? And so it's very simple. It's like we take it for granted, but it's like if you were to picture 3 seats and functions in your business: sales and marketing, operations, and finance. Every business needs those 3 things in order to move. And all those 3 seats or functions need to be strong. Because if one of those 3 things are weak, you're only as strong as your weakest link. And so you've got to get clear on what a sales or marketing seat means for your business. So define it. We're all very clear. We're always quick to I got to hire a marketing person. I hear that all the time. I've got to hire a marketing person. I'm going to spend my precious resources on a marketing person. Great. Well, you should know what it is that marketing seat is truly responsible for. What do you want that outcome to be? You can't just say my website. If it's, to attract qualified leads that are going to generate and convert to revenue, and that's something that marketing seat owns, you're going to have to track some results to make sure that the performance for marketing is actually effective. So you've got to define the seat, and then you can be able to delegate with accountability, especially if you have maybe 3 people in your organization, or maybe you're in all the seats. This will also help you to see which seat you're maybe not paying enough attention to. Where do you have a gap? So where do you want to put your next hire in prioritizing what that is? And then what are they responsible for? What do you want to what does your business actually need in order to move to that next level? So one of them is defining your structure. So you look at it in those 3 seats and functions and define what that means for your business. The other another structure or system to put in place is a weekly business dashboard or a scorecard. You should be tracking weekly metrics to help you determine what's working in your business and what's not. So oftentimes we look at revenue, we look at all these kind of bottom line indicators. But the problem with those indicators those are lagging indicators, and those are important to look at. But we really want to track leading indicators, because if you're looking at something on a weekly basis, you should be able to be a better predictor by tracking that leading indicator on a weekly basis to know what that outcome or that lagging indicator will result in. So implementing a business tracking or a business dashboard or scorecard on a weekly basis helps you to make sure that you're moving in the right direction. And if it's not right, it helps you to make a change before you've got a problem, right? Before it starts to impact the bottom line. So I went off on a big tangent there, hopefully not for too long. But
that was super valuable. But to make it super practical is if you have a revenue goal and you need a certain number of clients to achieve that revenue goal. And if you space that out over the calendar year, and maybe some months tend to historically be more high converting than others are slower, like July and August are typically not great times to be selling services when people are on vacation or on the beach. Although you may have something that's a service that's ideal to be sold in the summer. So understanding that and planning for those sales, and then understanding what the leading indicators are, what behaviors lead to a sale. And
That's right.
Are you measuring those on a weekly basis? So do you have the requisite number of sales calls? If you have a sales close ratio, which means you may have 10 conversations and walk away with 2 clients, that's right. A 20%. So now you know how many sales conversations you need to have. So just to break it down really simply for people, it's simple metrics that you need to be tracking on a daily basis.
It is. And to your point, and that's a lot of the, coming up with your scorecard, building your scorecard, it doesn't happen right away. It's kind of an art. It's a work in progress. Starting and getting your scorecard going is going to help you actually continue to come up with the right metric, come up with the right activity. You have to sort of finesse it in order to know what it is when you're starting from the beginning, because, it may not be right away, and that's okay. But if you're not tracking consistently and you're not using a systematic approach, you're just throwing spaghetti at the wall, or you're just kind of walking in the dark about things and hoping that you're going to get to your number or to your goal. And, hope is never a plan. It's never a good plan. So being able to break it down and then continue to tweak as you go along is really the name of the game.
And as you mentioned, the EOS tools are all free to download. Like, you don't even have to pay for these tools. You do have to pay for the training to use the tools, or to get an EOS implementer like Meryl to coach you through the tools and the strategies, but they're all for free. What's the website?
It's www.eosworldwide.com.
eosworldwide.com. And Meryl, you've dropped some amazing nuggets of advice. Is there one final thing that you want our listeners to take away from our conversation today about the importance of having a system to scale?
Yes. Stop being busy and work on your business. I hear it all the time. I'm too busy. I'll invest in this next time. What are you busy with? We have to work on our business. We're busy when we are too stuck working in our business. So let's work on our business, and working with a coach and having accountability really does enable you to drive that structure with accountability, and have fun, right? Do what you love so you can build a better business and have a better life. And stop being busy and work on your business.
Yeah, fulfill the dream of entrepreneurship that you had when you started. And
absolutely,
CEO doesn't mean chief everything officer. It means chief executive officer. And one of the first systems you need to put in place is your calendar, and how you're prioritizing your time so that you have that time set aside to work on your business, not in your business.
Absolutely. I have an entrepreneur that she was in my group and having issues actually sticking to that. And I said, let's put it on your scorecard, and we meet every other week, and you've got to show up if you're on track or off track. So, put it there. So absolutely. Even the basics of the calendaring, I know it, can impact all of us. So we've got to be intentional.
Yeah. The accountability is key too. Yeah.
Sure.
Meryl, it's so wonderful to have you in my circle. And it's great to have someone who's an EOS implementer, because when you do hire a coach, you want someone who is a strategist, as well as someone who knows how to implement the systems that drive growth. And so you need both in a coach. So if you're looking for a coach, those are the things that you filter for, plus past business experience, someone who has run a business in the past, has had P&L experience, not
absolutely.
Someone who's a one-hit wonder who launched a marketing program online, had great success, and now is trying to teach a cookie cutter approach to everyone else. So, literally, please, if you need help hiring a coach, just listen to this episode. We really laid it out for you. Meryl, how do people get in touch with you if they want to learn more or have a conversation with you about your cohorts?
Yeah, great question. Thank you for asking it. So you can go to www.justgetfocused.com, and you can get in touch with me that way. You can also email me at meryl@outpaceenterprises.com. I am part of a coaching firm. That's where the Outpace comes from. So I work with other coaches and EOS implementers as well. So a plethora of knowledge and running events all the time. So love to have you join one of our webinars, tune in, get some great knowledge, and hopefully some opportunities to help you make 2025 your best year ever.
Yeah, amazing. And if you're in New York City, definitely give me a shout out. We can have a conversation with Meryl. We'll have a whole roundtable of entrepreneurs that you can tap into. So that's it for now, my friends. Hope you got something out of this episode. This might be one that you listen to twice and take notes, and go to eosworldwide.com and download those tools and start working on your business, not just in your business. We'll see you next time.